a few people have a lot, and a lot of people have few. So there's a
Okay.
lot of disparity in Mozambique. We unfortunately are living some. There's a war going on now in the northern area of Mozambique, uh, related to the ISIS. So ISIS is in the northern area of Mozambique now, and there is an area where they found a big reservation of oil, of gas and oil. Um, so there's a lot of a military conflict happening there. So some instability, some fear all around the country. And in regards to COVID, we have COVID, especially in the big cities, in the large cities, in the capital, in Maputo, where I live. COVID is hitting quite hard, and it goes and comes. So at sometimes it's a peak, a big wave, and then it comes down. So it goes and goes.
Mm,
But yeah, but we are doing what we can, and our people is very, as yours, very family oriented, and people are very friendly and full of joy. People love dancing and partying. So I think and our weather is also amazing, and we have beautiful beach
right.
areas, a beautiful nature, beautiful animals. It's such an amazing country in that space of
Wow.
nature and wildlife. So uh, after this war and COVID is over, I would definitely recommend people to visit Mozambique. Uh, we have already another message coming in. I'm putting now on the screen. Very interesting conversation. Thank you. Um, yeah, so uh, let's talk about you now. Let's talk about who is. Your name is spelled, pronounced Diedrich or Dedrick? Just
Dedrick,
to.
but Dedrick is fine. It doesn't matter.
Now, I'm going to try and say it right. So, Dedrick, so tell me a bit more about you uh, in a short introduction. Who is Dedrick Mose?
Sure. So I was born in American Samoa. I have such amazing parents. I am number three, and there's six of us. We only have one baby sister. She's the only girl. You can imagine that. So if you see me, I'm big and tall. That's literally the size of all of my brothers. And can you imagine like being a girl and a baby, And so that's my siblings. I'm a member of the Church of LDS. I completed all my high school. I did all my college, and I moved to Hawaii 2016, and that's where I kind of started on my platform on TikTok. I was working I was working two jobs when I was back home. I was working at the airport, and I was also doing caregiving. Like I worked with the elderly, just taking care of them and helping them with their everyday doings. And you know that so the airport is already physically demanding, physically draining, and then you come to do caregiving. Now you may think that dealing with kids is hard, but you try dealing with the elderly, it's even harder. Okay, it's mentally draining, it's overwhelming. But so I needed a remedy, right? So I needed something to get away from the real world because the real world is just super crazy. I found I found out about TikTok, and so I was like, maybe I love singing and dancing. I grew up singing and dancing. So me and my siblings we sing all the time. So every time we would have like every day after dinner, we would gather around in front of our house and we would bring out our guitar and we would just start jamming. So I have my brother. He's younger than me. He's the one right below me. He would just play any tune, and then we would just like sing any song that would go with that tune, just one tune, and he would just like and we would just keep singing every single song that would match with the tune that he's playing. And so it was kind of like a remedy for all of us. We may had arguments throughout the whole day, we may had problems at school, we may had problems at work, but we this is where we get rid of all of that. This is where we sort of like, okay, everything is done, the whole day is finished, let's try and be happy, because music makes us happy. Dancing, we grew up dancing in church. We grew up singing in church because we do so at church. We do a lot of international nights and Polynesian nights. So what that is we do performances from different cultures and different countries. We there are times where we did Africa, which is super amazing. We do India, and then we do Polynesian. So we do all different countries, and that's where my passion for dancing came. And of course, when you're blessed, when you're blessed with these talents, you can never go wrong with it. And you have to share it with the world, because that's it's a gift. So you have to share it with the world. And so I didn't know that people could actually would actually relate and could actually because I have so many people that message me, oh my gosh, thank you so much for this performance, you've helped me so much. I've always felt insecure, and I was always sad, but because of your video I feel happy. And I didn't know that just dancing and just being positive would, in all honesty, I didn't know that it would have that much effect on somebody. So when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, there are people out there that can actually relate to my situation. So I was consistently posting every single day. And so as I was doing that, more and more people started to interact and started following. And so that's kind of my journey as an influencer. And right now, it's just everything is just going great. It's like my whole, it's a whole new turn in my life because I never thought I would be an influencer, to be honest. I never thought that I would. But right now, it's just but it's just gifts. God works in mysterious ways, and then things just happen. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah. No, I want to dig deeper into that later on. But first, I would like also to go back into maybe your teenage years. As you were saying about living in a large family with six kids, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about that time in your 13, in your 15 years old. How was your life, and what type of personality you had? You always loved dancing, music. Uh, were you into arts, into sports? Were you a very friendly people, or more lonely guy? Uh, Tell me a bit more about that.
Sure. During my teen years, I was super outgoing. Um, whatchamacallit. So I was never into sports, but I loved arts, dancing, and music. So I was super active in school activities that has to do with speech festivals and all of that. I was super active in all of that because that's where my passion is. I was never into sports. Um, so as far as growing up in a family, my I don't know how they did it, but my parents, I've always they always amazed me. So we didn't have a lot of money. It was just my dad that was working because my mom, she has arthritis and she can't really do anything. So my mom has been a housewife and a mom. That was literally her job. My mom was a nurse before, but when she had my baby sister, that's when she stayed home and she took care of her, and that's when she stopped going to work. So my dad was the only one that was working, and it's just a miracle that my dad was able to provide for all six of us when he was the only one working. And so, as y'all mean, I mean, it's not a surprise that I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. As far as that, I never had a hard time growing up. I mean, there were times where I had kids that would bully me, but because I had bigger brothers, so kids didn't really want to mess with me because I had them. And so I have a very close relationship with my siblings, especially my baby sister. My brothers are super supportive of me. My As far as my dad, he knows, but doesn't talk about it. He just doesn't talk about it. But he knows, but it's not that he hates me, but it's just it's a subject that he would push to the side, but he would just love me because I'm his son, right? And so as for my mom has just been there my entire life. And so I didn't really come out. I wasn't fully like um I didn't fully dive into the whole aspect of me being gay until I was in high school. That's when I really that's when my blooming days, okay, if that's what they